if I could ask the Minister for Health and Social Care if he'll provide an update regarding the provision of a chronic fatigue syndrome and myalgic encephalomyelitis service on the island.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Speaker said that very well, without even a pause. Mr. President, in regards to the provision of CFS/ME pathway, chronic pain pathway and health liaison psychology services, an interim measure is being put in place with the use of locum appointments to provide a pilot service to gather sufficient data which will determine the future service provision. This interim arrangement is due to start in November this year, with the appointment of a locum consultant neuropsychologist, as well as sourcing additional relevant expertise within the health liaison profession. Data on demand at the moment is obviously not readily available, and we anticipate the pilot will raise awareness for us to then ascertain a more accurate level of need so that we can build the service around that.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, that's great news, and it's of course to be welcomed that there'll be progress within a month or so. Has the Minister met with users, the potential users of the service, and can the Minister assess basically what the capacity of caseload will be for this pilot in the meantime?
Reply, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have met with the user services. I've met with the charity, in fact, and their representatives, where we had a very, very positive meeting not that long ago, talking about the way the service needs to develop. The problem with CFS/ME is it's unique to the individual. No two people are necessarily alike. So what we've got to do is we've got to design a service that is robust enough to take that into account. There's no point, as I think I've said before in this Honourable Court, in having a service that just tries to put people in boxes. It's not going to work. So in terms of demand, like I say, it's a difficult one for the pilot because we don't know what the demand is going to be. There will be people who may well have just given up over the years of trying to find any form of help that will come forward now and say, look, I'm still in this predicament, I've still got this problem, I want to be assessed and helped. So that is the whole point of the pilot, is to collect the data so that by the time we get to the end of this financial year, we'll be able to build a robust service around that, and we'll have more of an idea of what help we need and what level of help is required for the individuals concerned.
Supplementary question, Mrs. Beecroft.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could the Minister state why we're only getting an interim service now, and why he's only just recently met with the charities? Because it's an awful long time since the business case was approved, which was put forward to Treasury and approved when I was Minister, and I've been sacked over 2.5 years. It's quite a long time. And also, how much of the original 90,000 that was budgeted for 17-18, how much of that has been spent to date?
Reply, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just for clarity, I've been in post on my maths 20 months. My first contact with the charity, I think, if I recall correctly, I was in conversation with members of them from about 2 weeks after I started in post, and have been in continuous contact with them since, including face-to-face meeting as well. The service has taken a while to get off the ground. The Ombudsman for Douglas South is quite correct, because we've needed to make sure that it's delivered properly, because like I say, the service we're designing is not just a one-size-fits-all. It's not like designing a blood clinic. We've deliberately moved away from what is the old-fashioned way, in my view, of treating ME, of just referring them to a psychologist or one particular specialist. And what we want is a suite of treatments that suit the individual. I've got a constituent, for instance, who's been to the GP and been seen by consultants about ME, and he's just been told to exercise and do various exercises, which isn't suitable for him. It's actually making him worse. So that's been the problem. It's been around designing the service. So this isn't an interim service, Mr. President. This is the start of the service and ensuring that we deliver on the demands that people require. And I actually think it's a very good news story that we're going to be offering this to the people of the island.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. As the Minister quite rightly says, ME and CFS, there's no one-size-fits-all. So I'm intrigued as to how the Minister's gone out to advertise for a locum for that position. What are the particular skills in terms of the service that's going to be able to be provided? Has the Minister gone out and looked for in that individual?
Reply, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Well, this is one of the reasons why I said locums, because we're going to need people with different specialities and different understandings. We can't do, Mr. Speaker is quite correct, you couldn't just get one consultant in, and that's the thing about delivering this service. It's making sure we've got the mix of medical professionals to be able to adapt, that if someone comes in with something slightly different for someone else, there is someone appropriate we can refer them to. That's the old-fashioned way of treating ME, is just to have a neuropsychologist and nothing much else and try and treat them. We are building a service where we can refer people in to other areas to be treated, depending upon what best suits them.
Supplementary, Mrs. Beecroft.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I apologise to the court that I haven't been sacked for 2.5 years. It isn't. It's over 18 months. It just feels like 2.5 years. As I'm sure it does for all the sufferers of ME and CFS. Could I ask the Minister, I think he omitted to give me a response to I think it was my final question, when I asked how much of the original 90,000 has already been spent.
Mr. Ashford.
Thank you, Mr. President. In terms of the development of service, my understanding is none of the 90,000 has been spent. The funds will be actually being used to help fund these posts.